Okay, so this morning's lesson starts, we're going to be talking about pulling out hair or cutting fingernails or, potentially brushing hair and that being a problem. We'll get to why any of that might be a problem and how it works. Okay. Asur litol se'aro o tzipornav ben bayad ben bakli v'chen b'shinav. So a person is not allowed to pull out, to remove his hair or his fingernails, whether he's using his hand or some kind of utensil like a clipper or scissors, or even his mouth to bite on it. Whether it's his hair or someone else's hair. And from the Torah, even to pull out one hair is already a problem. And if you pull two hairs out, so already it's such a problem that were the Bet HaMikdash around, you'd have to bring a korban for doing it. So this is one of the, so where does this come from? So there's a melacha, as we know, there's 39 melachot that are forbidden. These were works that were done in the Mishkan. So one of the melachot that was forbidden was called tolesh. Tolesh means to pull out hairs or feathers that would have been on a goat, a sheep, a chicken, who they would have killed in order to get the leather for the leather coverings of the Mishkan. So since they would need to make leather, part of making leather is removing the hair out of the skin. So therefore, you're not allowed to do that on Shabbat. So that's normally for making leather. But the Chachamim said a tolada, a version of that, is to do the same thing to yourself or to somebody else, to your friend, which is to pull out hair or to cut fingernails or remove parts of the extremities of the skin or the body and so on. And he says, actually, he says that even on a weekday, he says there's a potential concern, as you could see in my hair, right, that I have some gray and some black, right? So at this point, I've got too many to worry about, and there's nothing you could do. But sometimes when people are, they're doing better than I'm doing in terms of the gray, right? They'll pull one or two of the grays out. So according to some rabbis, pulling the gray out is forbidden because potentially this comes under the rubric of a different area of halacha, which has nothing to do with Shabbat, which is that, hold on one second, I'm just going to admit those guys. It's potentially a problem in that men are not allowed to dress like women, and women are not allowed to dress like men, right? Meaning I'm not allowed to put on a skirt. For this reason, women maybe aren't allowed to wear certain clothing that's specific to men. This is a whole area of halakha I don't want to get into. What about pants that are is that a man's clothing? What if it's made for women? I don't want to go into all that, but the general basic idea is that clothing that is made for men should only be worn by men, and clothing that's made by women should only be worn by women. So RuPaul is asur, right? For those who get that reference, but it's not only clothing; it's also some other things, and there's actually a whole discussion about this, about whether or not men are allowed to color their hair, because that may be a woman's thing. So it's a good conversation. There's different people having this conversation even in the world today, because perhaps today it's so common for men to do it also that it's not a woman's thing anymore. But that's just where all this is coming from. But the idea, that's why he brings up the idea. But let's say I have, an unwanted, there's another thing that's going on in the world today is something called manscaping, Okay, I have unwanted hairs in different places. On Shabbat, I cannot pull even one out, right? It's in your ear, your nose, whatever. You can't do that on Shabbat. If I'm grossing anybody out, I'm sorry, it's the halakha. Okay.
What about a manicure?
What's that?
Manicure, doing your nails, a man.
Not on Shabbat, for sure.
I know not on Shabbat. I'm saying in general.
Are you allowed to do it in general? So it's a good question. It would be kind of under the same thing. And I'm of the opinion that since the nature of the world today is that that's pretty common. So I would say that that's not such a problem. But it's not as simple as that. But I don't think it's a problem. Okay. אסור לחתוך יבלת מגופו בין ביד בין בכלי בין לא בין אחר, וכן אסור לתלוש שאר ציצין של אור שפרשו קצת מעל גבי ידו או במקומות אחרים. He says also, if you're not allowed to pull hair, so also other things that might be on a person's body, a blister, a pimple, or something like that, to pull those off on Shabbat is also likewise not permitted. Okay, so basically, what you walk into Shabbat with, you got to come out to Shabbat with. You can't. There's not a time for shaving or cutting hair, whether I'm using actual utensils or if I'm just manually using my hand or something like that. Now, here's an exception to that rule. ציפורן שפרשה רובה מגוף האדם, אם יש לו צער מזה מותר לטלה לגמרי בידו או בשיניו, אבל אסור לטלה במספריים וסכין וכיוצא בזה. However, let's say, as happens occasionally, a fingernail starts to come off. Right now, he says it has to be a majority, but if it gets to a point where you have a fingernail that's not fully attached, meaning a piece ripped or something like that, and it's bothering you. And why is it bothering you? It gets caught on things. It gets stuck on your shirt. It's scratching you. So in that instance, you're allowed to take you're allowed to take the nail off, but you can't use a clipper. You have to use you have to bite it, or you have to use a non-natural way. So you can use your hand or you could bite it. But and again, that's only if it already started to come off. So if you're a nail biter, which is not a great not a great habit, but if you're a nail biter, you can't bite your nails on Shabbat to remove your fingernails. But if it already started to come off, then you can, or you could just use your finger and pull it off. Okay. רצועות האור שסביב לציפורן, אסור להסירם בשבת אפילו בידו או בשיניו, אפילו אם פרשו רובן מאור האצבע מצערות אותו, אסור להסירם. Says, now what about the cuticles or scabs or something like that? You can't remove those on Shabbat either. You can't be pulling those off on Shabbat or biting them or whatever it may be. Okay, so all that is the removal of the skin parts. Now we're going to talk about brushing or combing hair, which could present a problem. It says, Asur lehistarek b'masrek b'Shabbat, v'afilu אם הוא עשוי משיער רך, מפני שאי אפשר שלא יתלשו שערות. He says it's forbidden to use a brush or a comb on Shabbat to brush your hair. It says even if you're using a soft brush, because it's not possible that you don't pull hair out. When you're doing it, you're definitely going to be pulling hair out. Just look at your brush, you'll see there's usually lots of hairs in it. מקום מקום, מותר לתקן מעט את שיער הראש בכלי העשוי משיער רך, אבל במסרק ממש גם זה אסור, ונהגו לייחד את המברשת במיוחד לשבת, כדי שלא יהיו נראה כעובדין דחול. He says, so what do I do? He says, can I fix my hair at all? He says, yes, you can fix your hair a little bit, right? But you shouldn't be using, you have to be using something that's very soft, not something that's hard. So a comb, a comb is very challenging. If you put a comb through your hair, you're pulling hair out almost every time. So a comb is a challenge. A brush, if you have a really, they have a lot of these very soft brushes. So those brushes, not all the time does hair come out. And so therefore, that's what he recommends that you use. So some people have a Shabbat brush, or some people get a brush that and use it all the time. That's this, kind of the soft type. Okay.
That would happen also in the shower naturally.
Yes.
Just taking, anytime you take a shower.
So we talked about showers. Showers do present a problem in general from the heating the water, and also.
But even I'm saying if you take a cold shower.
Right. Even a cold shower could be problematic. So it's an added problem of a shower. So no question, you're not allowed to do that. So now, ישנם אנשים שמכירים לסרוק ראשם בשבת כמעט נעשה הדבר כהיתר אצלם, ואין עיניים שכך רואות לעבור בשעת נפש לאכול שבת בידיים, הראוי לכל חכם בעירו להיזהר על זה, אולי ישמעו ויקחו מוסר, והרי יכולים הם לסדר את השיער ביד, ולמה לעבור איסור זה בידיים. So he says, what's he talking about here? He basically is saying that teachers should be teaching people about this. He says a lot of people are not careful about the hair brushing halacha. He says, and therefore teachers should make a point of teaching it.
Rabbi, is hair gel any kind of an issue?
To put in hair gel, yes, yeah, I would say it is. So we're going to get to as I understand hair gel. I don't use much of it, and I just never like the feel of it, even when I had more hair than I do. My understanding is it's putting a coating on the outside of the hair. I think placing a coating on the outside of the hair is a problem. We're going to get to another melacha at some point where coating something is a problem. So I'll give you another example. I think we talked about this when we talked about cosmetics a little bit. So there's different types of creams that you might apply on at any time or on Shabbat. So we said if it rubs in like a moisturizer, then it's going to be okay. But if it rubs on and it prevents and creates a coating layer, so then it's forbidden. So it sounds like to me the way hair gel works is to provide that coating layer. So I think it's a problem. I'm only first thinking about it now. I haven't really thought about it before or seen it written. But I have to think that it's a problem, given that's the way that I think that it works. I'll try and find some stuff on it before Shabbat to be able to use something conclusive. Okay. מותר לסרק שיער פאה נוכרית העשויה משערות סינתטית, כיוון שהן קבועות בחוזק בפאה עד שאינו מצוי שיתלשו עקב הסריקה, וגם המחמירים שלא לסרק פאה, החמירו פאות העשויות משערות טבעיות, שמצוי שיתלשו שערות, אבל בשערות סינתטיות לא החמירו. ואם אין הפאה ראויה לחבישה בלי שיסרקוה, אסור לסרקה, כיוון שנחשב למתקן כלי. So here he's talking about a wig. Actually he's going to have some of the things here. Good. Okay. So he's talking about a wig. So he says a wig, he says, so if the hair is synthetic, right? It's not real hair. He says, so there's no problem. He says, if it's not synthetic, so now you have a question as to whether or not combing the hair pulls it out, right? Now it's interesting. Why should this matter? Because this is already detached hair, but I guess it's being considered anyway as a problem. So he says, if by brushing the hair, either by the type of utensil you use or by the strength of the particular wig, he says it's not definitively going to happen that hair is going to come out. So then it's fine. He says, but if the strength of the comb is very strong, then it's going to be a problem. And then, therefore, you should not do a wig either. Next halacha. Asura ha'isha latiz al sarotea nozel kedei lishmor et hatisroket mepnei sha'idei nozel hasarot nitbakot zev v'zeh domin l'midyan. So he says, here he's talking about hairspray, which I guess is similar to the hairspray is similar to the gel. He says also, he says that he has another problem, which I wasn't even thinking of this problem. He says you're not allowed to use hairspray or I guess hair gel, because as a result of this happening, the hairs end up sticking together. And then according to some rabbis here, and I'm just looking at who he's quoting, this is Shmirat Shabbat Hilkhot, Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, who said that by doing that, you're creating, by the hair sticking together, you're creating something, you're building something, and that's a problem. So let's stop here today. I'm going to try and spend a little time working on doing some homework on this, seeing if there are other opinions on it, and we'll continue with this tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Rabbi. See you soon.